Everybody loves the idea of the arc reactor because it feels like the ultimate engineering flex. A machine so small, it can sit inside a chest, yet powerful enough to run a flying metal suit, weapons, life support, and an entire futuristic war machine. It is clean, silent, compact, and almost magical. That is why it is such a perfect movie idea. But here is the twist. The movie version skips the hardest parts of physics and engineering. And those missing parts are the reason a real arc reactor still does not exist in 2026 and beyond. So by the end of this, you'll understand what a real arc reactor would actually be, why building one is so insanely difficult, and why, if humanity ever solves it, it could change warfare, industry, and global power forever. So what is the real-life version of an arc reactor supposed to be? Strip away the Marvel look, and what you are really talking about is an ultra-compact, ultra-powerful energy source. A machine with extreme energy density, capable of delivering huge electrical power from a very small amount of fuel. And when people say real arc reactor, what they usually mean is nuclear fusion. Fusion is basically the process that powers stars. Instead of splitting heavy atoms like today's nuclear plants, fusion forces light atoms together and releases enormous energy. Small fuel, huge output, and far less dependence on fossil fuels. That is the dream. And to be fair, parts of that dream are real. Fusion research is real. Compact fusion concepts are real. High field magnets are real. AI assisted control is real. Simulation is getting far more powerful. But a test mounted Iron Man reactor is not real, unfortunately. The reason is that the engineering fights you at every single level. The real problem is not making fusion happen once. We already know fusion can happen. The real problem is making it happen inside a machine that is stable, safe, survivable, and useful, as well as very small. And that is the first thing people miss. A fusion reactor is not just a glowing core. It is an entire ecosystem of brutal engineering compromises. You need fuel. You need confinement. You need shielding. You need heat removal. You need power conversion. You need materials that can survive. You need control systems that can react fast enough. And you need all of this working together without the machine destroying itself. The most famous real fusion systems today use deuterium and tritium fuel. That is popular because it is one of the easier fusion reactions to start compared to other options. But easier in fusion is still ridiculous. You're talking about plasma at temperatures hotter than the core of the sun. That means no ordinary metal can touch the fuel directly. That is why reactors use magnetic confinement. They are trying to suspend this superheated plasma with magnetic fields, so it does not smash into the reactor and then destroy it. That alone is already an insane challenge, but it gets even worse. Even if you confine the plasma, the reaction throws out high energy neutrons, and these neutrons are a nightmare. They damage structure, create radiation problems, and dump energy into the surrounding system. In other words, even if the core looked small, the machine around it would still need bulk. Real shielding is not optional, cooling is not optional, structural reinforcement is not optional. This is one of the biggest reasons the Iron Man version falls apart. The movie gives you the power source, but deletes the giant massive protection and support systems that would have to come with it. Then there is another problem: heat. People hear fusion and imagine limitless energy, wow. But from an engineering point of view, limitless energy also means brutal heat management problems. If a compact reactor is making huge power, it's also making huge waste heat that has to go somewhere. So a mini reactor is not just a power challenge, it's also a cooling challenge. You're basically trying to create a star in a box without letting that star cook the box. Now add the magnet problem. One of the biggest reasons compact fusion is being discussed more seriously right now is because of new superconducting magnet technology. Stronger magnets can squeeze plasma harder, which means your reactor can potentially be smaller for the same performance. This is where some of the real arc reactor energy comes from. Not a magical new element, not alien metal, but magnets. But even that comes with pain. Stronger magnetic fields mean massive forces inside the machine, and they are structure bending. Machines training loads that damage and demand huge support systems. So again, the dream of miniaturization crashes into reality. You shrink one part, and another part becomes more extreme. Then you get to the materials. And this is where the fantasy really hits the wall. A realistic compact fusion system would need advanced superconductors, radius and resistant structural materials, heavy shielding, plasma-facing surfaces that can survive repeated punishment, and probably tungsten in critical hot areas, because tungsten can tolerate absurd temperatures. But tungsten is not magic either, it has trade-offs. Real engineering is basically the art of choosing which pain you can live with. Fuel is another issue almost nobody talks about. Deuterium is relatively abundant, tritium is not. Tritium is radioactive, scarce and difficult. So even if you solved plasma physics and machine design, you'd still need a working fuel cycle. That means breeding tritium, handling it safely, and sustaining the system long term. This is where AI enters the story. A lot of people now believe AI will simply brute force fusion into existence. That is far too simplistic, but there is something real here. AI is becoming useful in plasma control, simulation, anomaly detection, and optimization. Instead of engineers slowly testing one thing at a time, advanced models can explore far more possible control strategies and reactor conditions. Digital twins can help teams simulate how a machine behaves before running the real hardware. But with all that jazz being said, AI is not a magic wand out of Harry Potter. It can help design around the problem. It cannot delete the laws of physics. AI cannot remove the neutron damage. AI cannot make shielding unnecessary. AI cannot magically invent a perfect room temperature, radiation proof, ultra light material, just because a model searched harder. The same goes for quantum computing. It sounds futuristic, so people naturally connect it to arc reactor fantasies. But in 2026, quantum computing is still nowhere near the point where it can simply simulate a perfect fusion reactor and hand scientists the perfect answer. Now think about warfare. If something like a rugged, compact, high output fusion power source ever became real, it'd be absolutely terrifying. Modern warfare is increasingly limited by power. Sensors need power. Electronic warfare needs power. Directed energy weapons need power. Cooling needs power. Computing also needs power. The side with more reliable onboard energy can run more systems for longer and push more advanced weapon into the field. Energy is not just support anymore, energy is capability. A true arc reactor class machine would not just change one single weapon, it would change battlefield logic. Drones could stay active longer, high energy lasers could become more practical, vehicles could become less tied to fuel chains, remote bases could become harder to cripple, naval systems could gain huge electrical advantages. It would absolutely reshape the war, and the global economy would feel it too. Cheap, abundant, reliable global power source changes everything. Data centers, industry, hydrogen production, transport electrification, desalination, manufacturing, and geopolitics all run on one single thing: energy. Whoever controls the next major energy leap controls far more than electricity. They shape economics, security, and influence. So what would a realistic arc reactor actually look like with today's materials and knowledge? Not a glowing test circle, more like a heavily shielded, vehicle scale or facility scale system built around powerful magnets, difficult fuel handling, serious cooling hardware, advanced control software, and maintenance robotics. That is the answer to the title. In 2026, the real-life Iron Man nuclear fusion arc reactor is both truth and fantasy at the same time. The truth is that we are building pieces of it right now. Stronger magnets, smarter control, better materials, better simulation, and more compact reactor concepts. The fantasy is the form factor. The fantasy is thinking you can remove the shielding, the heat systems, The structural mass, the fuel complexity, and the danger. The insane engineering challenge is not creating the power, it is surviving the consequences of creating it. And that is why the real arc reactor is so fascinating. Not because it already exists, but because the closer science gets to it, the more we realize that the hardest part was never the glowing core. The hardest part was everything around it.